Have you ever woken up and wondered, why do I feel older than I am? Maybe your joints feel a little stiffer. Maybe the energy you used to take for granted just isn't there anymore. Or maybe it's not the body, it's something quieter, like a feeling that life is slipping into routine, that the days feel shorter but somehow heavier. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Aging has a way of creeping in softly at first. A forgotten name here, a nap that turns into a whole afternoon, or a walk that leaves you just a bit more breathless than usual. But here's something that often gets lost in the shuffle: getting older doesn't mean getting weaker, sicker, or lonelier. In fact, there are simple habits, just small daily changes, that can help you not only live longer but live better. Because life after 70 is still life. It's still yours. And with the right care, the right mindset, and the right habits, you can add 10 or more healthy, active years that are full of energy, clarity, joy, and independence. So today, I want to share with you 6 habits that can truly change the game. Habits that are backed by science, but more importantly, by stories, real people who've discovered how powerful it is to take control of their own aging journey. Let's begin with the first one, and perhaps the most overlooked: starting your mornings with purpose. You see, what you do in the first hour after waking up sets the tone for your entire day. But for many people, especially after retirement, mornings become aimless. There's no rush to get anywhere. No job to prepare for. And slowly, over time, that quiet start becomes a pattern of passivity. But what if, instead of drifting into the day, you claimed it? Woke up, stretched, opened the curtains wide, and gave yourself a small mission. Maybe it's a short walk around the block. Maybe it's watering your plants, or calling your sister, or writing in a simple notebook for 10 minutes. It doesn't matter what the task is, what matters is that you said it. You chose it. That tiny act reminds your brain, I'm still steering this ship. Studies have shown that seniors who start their days with intention report higher levels of energy, better mood, and even better sleep at night. Why? Because your mind craves rhythm and meaning. You don't have to climb a mountain. You just have to stand tall in your own morning. And once that first hour feels like yours, it becomes easier to take on the rest of the day with energy, and that leads me to the second habit: moving more, but not necessarily harder. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Exercise? At this age? Some days it's hard just getting out of the recliner. But I want to assure you, what your body needs now is not high-intensity workouts or lifting heavy weights. It needs consistent, gentle movement. Movement that doesn't punish your joints, but refreshes them. Movement that keeps the blood flowing, your muscles engaged, and your mind alert. You'd be surprised how powerful a 20-minute walk can be. Not a race walk. Just a casual, steady stroll. Or even standing up and stretching every hour if you've been sitting. Even doing simple leg raises in your chair while watching TV helps your circulation and muscle strength. And if you add a bit of balance training, like standing on one foot while brushing your teeth or gently swaying side to side, you're not just improving your strength. You're preventing falls. And falls, as you may know, are one of the leading reasons seniors end up in the hospital. But the good news? Most of them can be prevented just by practicing stability every day. A friend of mine, Helen, is 78. For years she thought her days of movement were behind her. She avoided stairs, felt tired even walking to the mailbox. But she made a decision, just 10 minutes a day. At first, it was a few steps, then a block, then dancing in her kitchen while her coffee brewed. Now, she says she feels younger than she did at 65. All because she got her body moving again. It's never about going fast. It's about not stopping. Which brings us to the third habit, something less physical, but just as powerful: fueling your body like it matters. Because it does. What you put on your plate after 70 has a direct link to how your brain works, how your heart pumps, and how your joints feel when you wake up. And let's be honest, our appetites change with age. Sometimes food doesn't taste the same, or we feel less hungry. But that doesn't mean our bodies don't need nourishment. In fact, they need it more. especially foods rich in fiber, healthy fats, lean proteins, and antioxidants. Think colorful vegetables, berries, nuts, olive oil, fish, and yes, plenty of water. Dehydration is a sneaky issue for seniors. Just a little lack of water can make you feel foggy, tired, even dizzy. What many people don't realize is that inflammation is at the root of many age-related issues, arthritis, heart problems, even Alzheimer's. But the right food can calm that fire inside your body. It's like medicine, but with no side effects. A handful of walnuts, a bowl of lentil soup, some roasted broccoli, these are not just meals. They're investments in the years ahead. Now, I'm not saying you can never have cake or a slice of pizza again. Life should be delicious. But balance is everything. A treat should feel like a treat, not a daily habit. And your body will thank you when it runs on fuel that's actually helping it. So, we've talked about mornings with purpose, the power of gentle movement, and feeding your body the way it deserves. These habits may sound simple, and they are, but that's what makes them so doable. So effective. You don't need a gym membership or a drastic diet. You just need a few small shifts, done every day with intention. Let's keep going. Because once you start to feel stronger and more energized, something else begins to awaken inside you. Now, let's keep going. You've already started picturing what small changes can do. And that's the beautiful thing, at this stage of life, the smallest things often bring the biggest rewards. It's not about adding more to your plate, it's about choosing wisely what stays on it. And speaking of choices, here's one that may surprise you, the power of staying mentally curious. You know, a lot of people think that once they reach 70, their learning days are behind them. But the truth is, your brain doesn't stop growing just because you've got a few more candles on the cake. In fact, every time you challenge your mind, whether it's reading something new, trying a crossword, learning to play the piano, or simply striking up a thoughtful conversation, you're keeping the engine running strong. Scientists call it neuroplasticity, but really, it just means your brain loves to stretch, even now. Maybe especially now. I once met a gentleman at a community center who had just turned 82. He had a warm smile, a strong handshake, and a sparkle in his eyes that told you he wasn't done living yet. Do you know what he was doing every Tuesday and Thursday morning? He was teaching himself how to speak Italian, from scratch. Why? Because I've always wanted to go to Rome, he said, and even if I don't, it feels good to learn something that's just for me. That's the spirit that keeps a person young, even if the joints creak a little more than they used to. Staying mentally active is not just good for memory, it helps lower the risk of dementia, improves mood, and even helps you sleep better. And it doesn't need to be anything grand. Keep a daily journal. Read a few pages of a book before bed. Try a new recipe without measuring cups. These small exercises remind the brain that it's still useful, still needed, still alive. And that brings us to another habit that's equally essential, nourishing real social connections. We're not talking about having hundreds of acquaintances or a packed calendar. What matters most at this stage of life is meaningful connection. The kind that makes you feel seen and heard, the kind that fills the room with laughter or silent understanding. Many people over 70 begin to experience what I call the quiet spaces, times when the house feels too still, the phone doesn't ring as often, and invitations grow scarce. That quiet can turn heavy, especially when loneliness starts to creep in. But here's the truth, you are not meant to carry life alone, even if you've gotten used to it. One of the healthiest things you can do is reach out, even in small ways. Call that old friend you haven't spoken to in years. Invite your neighbor for tea, just to chat. Join a walking group, a choir, or a book club, not because you're desperate for company, but because you're still a vibrant human being who deserves connection, just like anyone else. Social engagement is one of the most powerful predictors of longevity. It keeps the heart strong, lowers the risk of depression, and even helps you stay physically active. Human beings thrive when they're around others. Even introverts need some form of companionship. And while technology may not be second nature, a short video call with a grandchild or an old friend can light up your spirit in ways no medicine can. What you're doing by nurturing these connections, these little rituals of relationship, is adding emotional vitamins to your life. Every smile, every laugh, every shared story becomes another layer of strength for your heart and soul. And that naturally leads us into the next important habit, finding purpose in everyday living. Now, this is something many people overlook after retirement. When the job ends, the children grow up, and the daily routines shift, it's easy to wonder, what now? But having purpose is not about being busy all the time. It's about waking up with a reason to stretch, to smile, to start the day. Purpose doesn't have to be big or loud. It might be tending your garden and watching something bloom. It could be volunteering at the local library, sharing your wisdom with others. Maybe it's as simple as being the one who calls the family on birthdays, who remembers the old stories, who keeps the family legacy alive. Purpose gives our days structure and our nights peace. And here's something science has confirmed. People who feel a strong sense of purpose after 70 tend to live longer, healthier lives. Their immune systems stay stronger, their hearts beat steadier, and their mood holds steadier even through tough times. The beauty of purpose is that it evolves. What once defined your life doesn't need to remain the same. It's okay to discover new joys, to pursue long-forgotten hobbies, to care for a pet or a plant or a neighbor who just needs someone to listen. Every little act of purpose stacks up to form a life that still matters, because it does matter. You matter. I once knew a woman named Mrs. Green who was 90 years old and still woke up each morning to write letters to people in her church. Handwritten notes filled with encouragement, scripture, or just kindness. When asked why she did it, she simply said, "Because someone out there needs to know they're not forgotten." That was her purpose, and it kept her heart young long after her hair had turned silver. So as we keep exploring the ways you can live longer and better after 70, remember this, it's not about chasing youth or pretending time hasn't passed. It's about honoring this chapter of life by living it fully, with intention, connection, and curiosity. Whether it's learning a new song, sharing a meal with someone you love, or waking up with a small goal for the day, these are the habits that stretch life, not just in years, but in depth and meaning. Let every sunrise remind you that you still have something beautiful to offer this world. And now, as we continue down this path of gentle transformation, let's turn our attention to something else, something that may not seem exciting, but has a profound effect on how your body feels every single day. Let's talk now about a habit that's often overlooked because it's so quiet, so basic, and yet it shapes every single moment of our day. That habit is hydration. Yes, simply drinking water. It might seem too simple to matter, but after the age of 70, your body's ability to signal thirst changes. That means you may not feel thirsty, even when your body desperately needs fluid. And when you don't drink enough water, everything slows down, your digestion, your joints, even your thinking. Dehydration in older adults is a silent thief. It can mimic fatigue, confusion, even symptoms of illness. But often, all that's needed is a simple, steady intake of water. Now, I know water doesn't have the same thrill as a cup of hot coffee or a fizzy drink. But think of it this way, water is like oil to an old engine. It keeps the gears turning smoothly. It cushions your joints. It helps your kidneys, supports your brain, and even softens your skin from within. And here's a gentle tip, it doesn't have to be plain water all the time. Herbal teas, broths, or even water flavored with a slice of lemon or cucumber can be just as nourishing. Keep a glass within reach. Sip throughout the day. Let hydration become a quiet act of self-care, something you do not because you're told to, but because you love how it makes you feel. More alert. More mobile. More alive. And as we hydrate the body, let's also remember to move it, but with kindness. That brings us to one of the most life-extending habits you can adopt after 70, gentle, consistent movement. Now, don't let the word exercise frighten you. This isn't about gym memberships or heavy weights. It's about listening to your body and offering it the joy of movement, a slow morning stretch, a walk around the block, or even dancing a little to your favorite song in the living room. Movement doesn't have to be long to be effective. 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Your muscles don't care how fancy it is, they just want to be used. Because when we stop moving, we start shrinking. Our balance falters. Our joints stiffen. Our independence slips, little by little. But when you move, when you stand and stretch, when you walk and reach, you are sending a message to your body: I still need you. I still value what you can do. We're still in this together. And it's not just about muscles and bones. Regular movement improves your mood, helps manage blood pressure, and even enhances sleep, something many seniors struggle with. It brings a sense of rhythm to your day, a reason to get dressed, to step outside, to greet the world again. I once watched an elderly couple, both well into their 80s, walking hand in hand through a park every morning. Slow steps. Steady. Barely speaking. But there was something so beautiful in their ritual, two people moving through life together, one step at a time. They weren't walking to burn calories. They were walking to remember they were still alive. If walking isn't possible, chair exercises or water aerobics can be just as powerful. Even gentle yoga or tai chi can do wonders. What matters is consistency, not intensity. And that brings us naturally to our final habit in this journey, perhaps the most profound of all: resting with intention. We often talk about doing more to live longer. But sometimes, what the body and soul need is less. Less rushing. Less noise. Less pressure. After 70, rest becomes more than just a break, it becomes a sacred part of health. But here's the secret: rest doesn't mean laziness. It means healing. It means giving your body space to repair, your mind room to breathe. It means quality sleep, yes, but also moments of stillness throughout the day. Sitting quietly with a cup of tea. Watching birds outside your window. Closing your eyes and listening to the rhythm of your breath. True rest is not passive. It's deeply active in its own way. It allows your nervous system to reset. Your immune system to strengthen. Your emotions to settle. Seniors who prioritize restful sleep and allow themselves regular moments of peace often show remarkable improvements in memory, mood, and physical resilience. If sleep is a struggle, as it can be with age, there are gentle things you can do. A regular bedtime routine. Warm herbal tea before bed. Dimming the lights an hour before sleep. Soft music or white noise to soothe the senses. A good book, read slowly. These little rituals send signals to your body that it's safe to let go. To trust the night. I want to leave you with this thought: at this stage in life, you've earned the right to take care of yourself without guilt. You've spent decades giving, working, tending to others. Now, these simple habits, drinking water, moving with grace, resting with intention, are not selfish. They are acts of wisdom, of preservation, of love. And they don't need to be perfect. Some days you'll forget to walk. Other days, you may not sleep well. That's okay. What matters is the return. The gentle turning back toward health, again and again. So when you wake up tomorrow, take a moment before you stand. Breathe. Smile. And remind yourself, you still have time to build something beautiful. One habit at a time. One day at a time. Let your later years be your wiser years, not rushed, but intentional. Not lonely, but rich with quiet joy. And not passive, but filled with small, powerful actions that say, I am still here, and I am still choosing life.